Do you feel anxious with so many changes and challenges going on with this shifting global climate as well as other things? And what if you could learn a new way of living on this planet? How alive do you think you could feel then?
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
This is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. And in this episode, we will be talking with Kerri Hummingbird Sami about her new book, Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. Kerri is a #1 international bestseller author and shamanic practitioner. And Kerri Hummingbird is a medicine woman. She's been on the show before. She's a mother and a mentor, and is the founder of Inner Medicine Training, a mystery school that shares potent ancient traditions from the Andes and the Himalayas for owning your own wisdom and living your own purpose. Kerri has over 30 years of experience in leading by inspiration and special passions for reconnecting people to the guidance of our Mother Earth. She has a number of books out. We'll talk about the other books that she also has out, but this one particular one is what's hot, what's going on. She mentors women to rewrite the story of their lives through inner transformation, connections to essence, and remembrance of purpose, and realignments to authenticity and truth. Welcome, Kerri. So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me back. It's great to see you again, Nancy.
I've always said to you this, the last show that I've done training with the Andean shamanism, the Quechua tradition, and it's a fascinating, fantastic tradition, and you've brought it into mainstream, I feel, and so let's talk about your new book, the Inner Medicine and Becoming One with Mother Earth, and especially that last, the survival of humanity. That's like the grab one, Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I was surprised that was the subtitle. I listened for all of my titles and subtitles, and when I heard that, I thought that's a wee bit dramatic. And then it was like, no, it's really not, Kerri. Like, oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. So it really is this time now. It's becoming one with Mother Earth for the survival of our species, and because we were always meant to be the stewards of Earth, as humanity, becoming one with all of with Earth is really about also supporting all of the other life forms on the planet to survive and to thrive and to be well. And we have this opportunity right now to course correct some of the direction that we're heading right now, which if we did nothing would be extinction. And when we actually take this seriously, as this is important, we need to look at this. We need to see the cascading, a domino effect of species at the low end of the species ladder, like going extinct, is going to ripple all the way back to us and then all life forms on the planet. So we need to take this very seriously and course correct. And there's a lot of people waking up to this, and there's some people actually doing things about it, which is so exciting. One little small example was, I was scrolling on Facebook the other day, and I saw this advertisement from this company that they figured out how to put freeze dry, I guess, detergent for laundry into sheets. And so instead of having to have all these plastic bottles everywhere for all this laundry detergent, which is just, nobody's recycling that stuff. I mean, it's just stacking up, and that is damaging our environment. They figured out how to put it in these little sheets, and then you just put the little sheet inside the detergent tray and it'll actually wash your clothes. That's ingenious. It's that kind of thing that is a small thing that
I
makes
bought some of those sheets. I'm telling you, I got
a
some of
huge
those sheets.
difference.
Yeah,
It's
it's huge. Yes.
I'm gonna get some. I didn't even know about them. So I'm like, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's the kind of thing. But it's these little things that seem like it's just solving a small problem. Think about the problem that would solve if the whole industry adopted that. And we would be done with all this plastic for at least laundry detergent. We wouldn't have so much plastic for at least one thing. So we have some opportunities in front of us, but we have to be tapped in to ourselves first. And we have to get over our own human drama to have any space to contemplate something bigger than ourselves outside of our life, out of our little transient lifetime.
Yeah.
We got to get beyond ourselves in order to make a difference for the whole.
So, Kerri, that is an overwhelming task for a lot of people. That I'm absolutely like, I don't know what to do with this kind of feeling. And there's lots of little things that are out there, and then somebody will contradict it or come back. So you shouldn't do this. And then it's like what's going to give you a heart attack every year it changes. But what's most important here is what are the actionable items to take? Now you're plugged into spirit, you're plugged into the spirit of the earth as well as other guides. What are some steps to take that will work and be productive to all of us who are overwhelmed?
Yeah, slow down. Slow way, way, way down and get still and quiet and learn how to access that inner guidance, that inner wisdom. Because you're right, there's a lot of different perspectives on just about every argument, every debate has all these different perspectives. And we're not going to be able to approach those things from the mind, from the level of only the mind anymore, because things are moving too fast. And it's so interesting because actually I heard that message from White Eagle in 2019. I heard this message. It's going to get so fast that you will not be able to live life as your ego any longer in your mind. You will have to surrender to your soul in order to keep up with the pace of things. You'll have to flip into this other way of knowing things. And that's exactly what's happening. If we're living from the mind, we're really stressed out right now because there's not enough time in the day to do all the mental research to figure out the answers on every little issue that's in your life. You can't possibly read that much to know all those things. There's just no way. And so a lot of what people do is then they surrender their own choice to some expert. They're like, okay, this expert's the one I'm going to trust then because they're the one doing all the research. And so I'm just going to listen to that person. And then that person's proven wrong somehow in some other way. And then they're, feel disillusioned and don't know who to believe now. Right. So instead of all of that mess,
right,
it's like,
please take it away.
Yeah. What are you here to know? What are you here to do? And to drop inside to find the answers, not outside. And what's amazing is that when people have dropped inside, and I know on your show you've got to have listened to or had experts about Akashic records and things like that. It's like how much information is available simply by listening deeply inside.
This is the thing, and you hit the nail on the head with the show. My show is about learning the five. I teach 5 languages of your soul, which are basically simple steps to hear that inside voice, and tune out the outside voice, or come to understand what the outside voice really truly is for you. And so that's absolutely crucial, I feel, to changing the trajectory of humanity. I don't really say it in big words like that. I go the soft way, but I feel like you do, or the message from the guides is this is about survival of humanity, and we're not going to do it by panicking. But your book, I want the inner medicine. I'm really curious about the inner medicine that you're teaching in this book. And everybody, go get this book. It's on Amazon. I went there and clicked the button. So,
inner medicine. It's really about switching from that outer expert, that outer, even the teacher of it. It's about switching out of what somebody else is saying, coming inside. And maybe you've heard some pieces of this, pieces of that, or you've heard, and then come inside and feel from your body what's true. Because your body is telling you the truth. When you come inside and you really get quiet and still and you check out what your body is giving you information, what you're hearing inside your heart, what you're feeling, and it takes, you got to slow down, but then you'll get a very clear guidance for you. But that doesn't mean that everybody that goes inside is going to get the same guidance. This is where a lot of people get freaked out.
Yes. Thank you. Amen.
And that's why you don't listen to me or you or anybody else. You learn the tools to go inside, and then you learn the tools to discern the different voices and different aspects of you inside. But you're the one that's got to navigate. Every person has got to navigate that inner realm to find the answer that's right for you. For example, when the COVID stuff came around, my husband was a yes for taking the vaccine. He was a yes. And I was like, okay, you're a yes. My guidance is no. But my no doesn't mean his yes is wrong, and his yes doesn't mean my no is wrong. We were going on our own guidance systems.
Right. Yeah.
And this is where it's like, I think we need to let go of the idea that there's one answer that fits everybody. That's one size fits all answer.
Right.
That's not true.
I love that. I love that. I have this image oftentimes when I'm asking spirit, how is this all working together? And I just saw this puzzle. You know how you put together 1,000 puzzle pieces, and each puzzle is unique and fits just right into into the puzzle pieces around it. And there is a larger design, but when I years ago was trying to figure out how DNA worked, that also is a bunch of puzzle pieces that fit, and the proteins have to be the exact right shape to fit into the exact right connection to feed the body, or however that works. I'm not a scientist, but so when you say you're individual, that is so important, because where on the DNA strand of life do you fit into? And you only know it in here. That's kind of how I look at it. Do you want to add to that? It's your show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're all pieces of a bigger puzzle, and each of us has our own role to play in that. And when we look at the gene keys, Richard Rudd, who has brought that transmission through for the collective, he talks about that we'll be part of the synarchy. And the synarchy is like a natural alignment of us with our gifts into the collective. We're like, I'm in a natural alignment. I'm a sage, I'm a speaker, I take complex information, I break it down and make it easier to understand, and then I share it. And so when I'm doing podcasting with you, I'm in my element. This is exactly what I'm meant to be doing. When I'm teaching my students in inner medicine training, I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing. I'm in the right spot. If I went to go try to be a scientist, I wouldn't be in the right spot. I'd have a lot of questions. I'd not understand things. I'd be a little kludgy. I would get annoyed at having to be so detail oriented. It would really challenge me. So that's not my right placement. And somebody who loves details and loves experiments and loves like rigorous mental work and loves those people also have a place in the synarchy. So what we're talking about here is like getting aligned with your divine placement so that you are happy in your life, you're fulfilled, you're doing a job that works for you, you're in the right spot, you're tuning inside for that information and not looking to anybody else for those answers. That is really what we're working on. And of course, on the way of that, sometimes it's easier to hear what you need to hear from someone else who's trained to guide you in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like Akashic Records. Sometimes, I mean, you can do it yourself, sure, but sometimes it's easier to hear it when you have a guide that is practiced at it and is unattached to the outcome.
Yeah. And that's sort of some of the reasons too. I find people are very attached, belief structures, unconscious societal structures, how to be safe, and letting go of those is ginormous job, and you don't have the tools to do that. So talking to somebody who has more tools, or can and not or and kind of comfort you or direct you to say, this is a new normal. It feels terrible at first. You might not you'll feel anxious, or these feelings are they're okay. You're okay. Continue to step forward. You'll know that it's right for you, because there'll be something inside you that's saying, this is where I'm clicking in, even though I'm extremely uncomfortable. Like, I know skiing is just not for me at all, but I've tried so hard and I nearly killed myself doing it. So that forcing myself to do something beyond my comfort zone, that wasn't the right answer. So we're taking people beyond their comfort zone, however, to a place of well-being. And I think that that's something we need to talk about sometimes, to encourage people to step forward and try these new things. Does that make sense to you?
It does. And, I think that the biggest thing people need to do that's uncomfortable right now is slow down and tune inside.
Yes. Yeah.
That is really uncomfortable, because people have a fear of missing out. They have a fear of getting people upset because they're not meeting some obligation. They have a fear of not doing the right thing, doing it wrong and being criticized, or there's so many fears. All of this is because the collective matrix we've been operating from, which is based in codependency and based in power over, because we need resources from outside us. And so we have power over others in order to pull that into ourselves. That whole matrix is collapsing on itself right now. And all of the things related to that structure, the victim, rescuer, perpetrator triangle, waiting for somebody to save you, have the right answer for you, the outside expert, the power, the money ladder, these people have money, everybody else is broke. All of that is all collapsing right now. And it's moving into a very new matrix, a very new co-creation of sovereign souls, of people that know on the inside what's right for them. They listen to themselves, they honor that, they have conversations with others in diplomacy to share different perspectives. And then as a collective, with hearing all of the perspectives, then they make a new decision. And that's, this is requiring us to be in a great deal of transparency and self-honesty and courage to stand our ground and be different than maybe those people around us that we source our safety from, along with sourcing safety power within. So we're moving to, I'm safe no matter what anybody else thinks about me. I'm safe when I have my inner channel and my inner guidance and I follow it. I'm safe, even if it leads me to encounters that make me uncomfortable or make me lose a friendship or something.
I agree. The safety within, the trust within, and also and I'm sure you agree with this, that you're not alone. And so maybe everybody around you is disagreeing with you, or you're not reflecting back what you feel is true. You can find your source with source, find your inner soul and your inner guides. Like you said, you talked to spirit and had conversations about what's the title of this book, but I'm sure you talked to them way more about what's inside the book than the title. But you're not alone when you find that inner resource. Talk a little bit about that when you find that. What's inside here? What are you finding?
Well, there's so much inside, as you know, Nancy. I mean, when we start to listen inside, we hear what the Toltec call the metote. And the metote is all the many voices in our heads. And some of those voices are not even ours. Most of those voices are not even ours. It could be people in our family, people we're connected with, people at work. This is what people misunderstand about themselves, is that we're all psychic. We're all connected and we're all psychic. It's just that we have believed for a long time that we're separate, we're human, we don't have access to intuition, and therefore we're not psychic. But that's all false.
It's all a big fat lie. Yeah.
It's false. And here's a really interesting, and I've been sharing about this quite a bit, but there's a speaker and he's a psychiatrist and he's a Native American, Dr. Louis Malmadrone. He has a nice book. He talks about healing people with schizophrenia. And now schizophrenia is really, somebody doesn't have a defined sense of self, right, is dissociative and hears voices in their head and feels confused about what voice is actually theirs, right? And it's interesting that in order to heal these people, he's brought all of their relations, anyone that had a connection with that person, that told a story of them, into a talking circle. And then when everybody speaks out loud what they think is wrong with this person that has schizophrenia, and you get it all out in the open, and it might take a few days, you get it all out into the open, that person heals. Because now they put a face to the stories in their mind. They're hearing all the stories of all the people that know them. That creates a metote.
Okay, so let's go back and look at this, because this sounds good, but sounds complicated. So you have, I don't know, your mother-in-law who's told you all these stories about yourself. Probably don't have a mother-in-law by then, but just say that this, or an aunt, and she said, well, you've always been a lazy one. You're always a very sensitive little person, and so you're not necessarily believing that story. You're listening to it and recognizing that story. That story may not be you at all, but this is what you're talking about?
Yeah. And so, but you might not even know that that voice inside your head comes from your mother-in-law or comes from your brother until you hear them say it. And then you go, that's where that story comes from. That's not even my story.
Yeah.
It clears the whole mess up. And then not only does it do that, but then the family system has to admit that they each played a part in this person falling apart.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing now. I don't know of any families really actually going to do this. So
families have done it, and it's amazing. It's actually, it's part of what's called family systems work, because family systems work is all about recognizing that if there's somebody in a family that's having a challenge, like a mental illness or depression or suicidal or things like that, generally it's because the family itself has deep issues. And this one person is the weakest link, or the one that's the most sensitive, the one that's most psychic, the most empathic, the one that's the healer essentially in the family, doesn't know they're a healer yet and doesn't have the tools, and is overwhelmed by the dynamic in the family system that is unexpressed, that is disowned, that is repressed and not talked about.
Right.
That is why that person falls apart. And so when the family comes together and actually in support of this person, everybody can heal. And own their own stuff, which is really what inner medicine is about.
That's nice. That's beautiful. Now just to say, me coming from the family I am, I cannot see my family cooperating with something like that. Does that mean I won't heal? Does that mean I'm kind of stuck until somebody
you have to go around a different way? So the way that you have, it's possible, but you have to go around it a different way, because sometimes family systems, they shun the person that has the problems, and they say it's all your fault. And I had this said to me, if everybody else has a problem with you and you're the only one, then it's your fault, and you're the one with it's you. And it's like, okay, yes, and there's more to the story. So when we want to heal, and I also had the same situation where my family did want to come together in a circle to kind of help me. They were like, no, they just want to ostracize me.
Yeah.
That's also part of this this victim paradigm and this power over paradigm, because when you have a family system that's like that wants to shun and outcast the person who is carrying the darkness of the family, that's because those other people in the family system do not want to own their darkness. They repressed it and they denied it already. They don't want to own that. So they're not really stepping into personal responsibility, which is the next part of our soul's curriculum on earth. We are entering it now, the age of Aquarius. That is a level of dishonesty that is going to be exposed as more and more people wake up to intimacy and transparency, because the work of the Aquarian age is all about being relational. So this other aspect was about the Piscean age, was being a victim with the perpetrator, and then a rescuer that came to save you, right? So Jesus was the ultimate rescuer, Satan's the ultimate perpetrator, and the hapless human in the middle that can't do anything about it either way, because they're not divine and they can't resist, and so they're caught in the middle. That whole paradigm has been explored fully by humanity. We are done with that now. That paradigm creates a lot of drama. So we're moving into relational now. And the relational requires people to realize that that everybody has darkness in them. Everybody has shadow. Everybody contains a piece of the collective shadow within them. Everybody. It expresses differently for everybody, but everybody owns shadow. And this is going to start getting really obvious to people that don't own their shadow, because what happens when in a relational time on the planet, in the curriculum we're in now, is that when you do own your shadow, what happens is that you become self-responsible and you start to realize that you're projecting your shadow out on others. So you reclaim that part of yourself, you do your personal work, your heart opens, your whole life opens up in front of you, you expand your potentials, and you're like open and light, right? Like your light increases, your transparency increases the more you do this shadow work and you own your stuff and you do the work on it, it makes it more obvious who's not doing that, because they clamp down and they tighten and they constrict and they get more stuck and more like barricaded, and their heart closes in defense of these things they don't want to be witnessed by themselves or others. So there's greater dishonesty, more shadow, and it becomes more, you can see it starting to already happen, where it's really super obvious who's doing their shadow work and who's not, because you can tell the difference in the energy fields.
Could you give an example, a real life example? Do you think you could, for instance?
If you're not doing your shadow work, you're going to say things like, I forgive you, but I never want to talk to you again.
Okay.
You're going to say things like that. If you're doing your shadow work and you're really working on owning everything that you have contributed to a relationship and honoring the other person in the relationship for having given you what you needed in order to grow for your soul's curriculum, because we're looking at the soul lens now. We're looking at everything from soul eyes. We're no longer looking at things from victim human eyes, you know, with Jesus to save me and Satan to punish me. We're moving out of that model and we're moving into soul responsibility, which means that when you claim responsibility for your soul curriculum and say you have a relationship that's very challenging, you claim that as part of your soul's lesson. And when you're really forgiving, you're actually getting beyond forgiveness into gratitude. It's like, oh my gosh, that was really challenging for me to experience, but it grew me in this way and this way and this way and this way. And without that relationship and that challenge, I wouldn't have the depth that I have. I wouldn't have the wisdom that I have. I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have. And so namaste, soul partner. Thank you so much for teaching me all those lessons. And I forgive you, I release you, and I even have gratitude for how you helped me to become a better person. Whether or not you look like you were trying to do that or not, at a soul level, we recognize that was part of the matchup. Now I can see that person whenever they show up, because I have accepted that that was my choice of soul curriculum and that this was my soul partner to work on it with me.
And it sounds like, as you had the triangle that you talked about, victim, fixer, victimized, victim, victimizer system, you have stepped out of that altogether. You're no longer in that relationship. So you can see that person and not feel threatened or not
because you know they're not attacking you. They're
just doing their ugly stuff, you know.
They're just being themselves. And that's the thing, is we stop arguing with who people are being, because sometimes they're being who they're being. Sometimes that's because that's the role they need to play in order for you to have the breakthrough that you came to have.
True.
They're stuck in that role until you learn the lesson and claim the wisdom. And sometimes when you claim the wisdom, learn the lesson, forgive, get through the whole process into gratitude, they do a 180 and they're totally different. They're like, show up totally different. It's really like, really, is that possible? Yes, I've experienced it. It is possible. It kind of blows your mind when you see how malleable perception is, how malleable personality is. It's very malleable.
So this brings us, just a little tiny going back to the circle of when we know who we are and we're not plugging into the wrong things. We're not afraid to plug into the right things, or does this align with the well-being of yourself and be that puzzle piece that moves humanity forward. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, because you're not afraid to have a conflict.
Yes.
You're not afraid to stand and speak something. You're not afraid to look inside your own shadows and admit what's in there. That's all a part of being sovereign. It's a part of stepping outside of that victim triangle and stepping towards your self-responsibility. And the more that you do that, the more you clean up the sort of like junk in the pipes, and the mud that clogs up the system, and the confusion, the doubt, the shadows, all the things that kind of gunk up your ability to hear guidance and take action on it. You clear that up. And the more you follow that voice within, the more you take the steps, you do the shadow work, the more you face yourself, your fear of seeing what's in your dark closet, the more you really face that, everything opens up, actually. It's the opposite of what people think is going to happen. They think, I'm going to open that closet door and I'm going to get like barraged. I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to want to die. I'm going to drown in it. There's a sea of crap I have to face about myself, and I just don't even want to face it. But if you just roll up your sleeves, it's like any other messy closet. If you just roll up your sleeves and go in, you can go in with a mentor and a supportive community. You can get help to go and look at those things, and you can look at them piece by piece. You don't have to take it on all. You don't have to eat that whole elephant in one bite.
No.
That elephant is too big to eat in one bite.
Yeah.
Like, just take a bite at a time.
A bite at a time, and invite your friends to come help eat the elephant. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you can have some humor over it. Like, you can realize we all have the same elephants in the closet, basically. We're all embarrassed that we did this, or we said this, or we acted like this, and we never wanted anyone to know we were like that kind of person that we judged out there. And we all have those things. And so when we come together in community and we tell our stories, we feel a whole lot better because everybody else is just as messy as we are. They're just faking it.
But yeah. How many times are we told, fake it till you make it? Now, taking you another step into becoming one with Mother Earth. Let's talk a little bit about, I think that's kind of partly what we're talking about, but we're really focusing on the individual and their inner work. So as you do your inner work, do you discover that relationship with Mother Earth? How can people step into that?
Also, I'll give the example through the lens of prayer. So when we usually make prayers, when we first start to pray, when we first begin, is after a long time of not asking for any help, right? And so the big deal is that we're asking for help. Like, we're saying, please help me. Okay, I want to ask for help. I'm going to pray now. I'm going to ask for guidance. Please help me. And so but it's usually those prayers at first are focused on the self. Like, I didn't get what I wanted, or I feel bad about this, or I want this instead, and I want my dream partner, and I want the dream job, and I want to feel good, and I don't want this, and I don't want that, but I want this. It's all about me, right? Like, what I want.
Absolutely. Yes.
And even the law of attraction, when we first meet the law of attraction, it's about, how can I get the universe to give me what I want? That's like where we meet it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So after a while of that, that's kind of like your personal shadow work, right? So Spirit dangles this little carrot out that says, hey, you can get what you want if you come along, and you do your shadow work and you start figuring out what's in the way of your prosperity, and what's in your way of love, and what's in your way of this, and what's in your way of that. You get enticed because you get some early wins where you do get what you wanted right away. And then you go, wow, that's cool. And then you get excited about that. And then it doesn't work as well as it did the first time. There's a little extra lesson involved for the next thing to go your way, so then, you learn the lesson and it goes your way. Okay. And then you keep going. Well, at some point, the me conversation shifts into, what can I be praying for my community, for my family, usually family first? What can I be praying for with my family? How can I open widen my perspective in my prayers to pray for my family? And then how can I widen my perspective to start praying for my community? And then how can I widen my perspective to start praying for the whole planet? And then how can I step into sacred activism for the planet? How can I align my life and my life force in such a way that I'm taking actions on a daily basis that make a difference on the planet? But it starts with the self, because if you're all gunked up with your own personal dramas and your own needs not feeling like they're full, it's really hard to then flip and be concerned about the whole planet. It's a huge gap. So that's why we work at clearing the vessel of, doing the shadow work, deciding that your relationships matter to you, doing the personal shadow work to heal those relationships, which is healing your family and your close relationships, part of your community. And as we start to heal that, we start to free up tons of energy, because there's no more drama that's sucking all that energy and vitality out of you. Your eyes sparkle more. You have a little bit of a smile, a spring to your step. You feel more inspired. You might even stop and give some homeless person some money. You might actually drive all the way around the block just to give them the money. You might find yourself donating to a charity. You might find yourself having extra space inside of you to be giving towards others. And at first you might want some credit for that, because that makes you feel good, that you invalidated that you were giving. And then after a while, you might just give because it feels good to give. And that's when we start getting into that big expanded space I was talking about with the sacred activism and with, being a steward of earth.
So it sounds like being a steward of earth, the first steps are being a steward of yourself, being a steward with your relationships.
Exactly. Because Nancy, we are a piece of earth.
Thank you. Yes, we are a piece of earth.
Yeah, we're each tending our own piece of earth garden. Like, we're made of earth. This is our piece of earth to tend. And the family unit is the next piece of earth to tend. And then the community is the next. So we just keep, it's like Stephen Covey, your spheres of influence. The stronger you're able to take care of yourself and be really loving, kind, and gentle with yourself, you can start doing that in relationship and heal those deep wounds that hold us back from opening our hearts and being connected. Then our families start to come together with love, because love is the glue that binds everything. And then as our families come together with love, we can start to bring that activism, that sacred activism, into the communities and unite different people from different perspectives. We might find ourselves in roles of mediation or diplomacy or, holding space, sacred witness. We could find ourselves in all kinds of roles that support the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to take a really quick break to tell everybody about how to contact you or how to find your stuff. We have the book that we're talking about is Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity by Kerri Hummingbird Sami. It's on Amazon. Even if you looked up Kerri Hummingbird Sami, you'll find a number of books. One that I love, The Second Wave, Transcending the Human Drama. And then the other one, Love is Fierce, to Healing the Mother Wound, and Awakening to Me, One Woman's Journey. So all these books are very, very valuable. And I feel like you could kind of go through your own step-by-step healing. Also, what's the best way people can get in touch with you? You have a website, it's Kerri Hummingbird.
Yeah, KerriHummingbird.com, KERRI Hummingbird.com is my website. You can book a healing session there. You can sign up for inner medicine training. You can get the books. You can just check out my blog, find social media, find podcasts.
Yeah,
the interview with Nancy will be up there soon. So,
very nice.
It's all up there.
So what I try to do in Angelscapes podcast is to bring teachers and resources to the community so that you can choose who you want to work with or who will be helpful to you. So research Kerri, get one of her books or two of her books and read about what she is with her spirit guides is trying to bring to this planet and to humanity for their healing and going forward. And I find you guys, so I really want to push you guys to use all of these amazing people, especially Kerri, who we've brought forward. So let's keep talking now. Commercial over.
Okay.
Um, what is the? I feel like I'm going to ask you the most important thing. You work a lot with women, and I'm sure you work with both men and women, but you have a special affinity to working with women and awakening their own inner goddess, mother goddess. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It's so important right now for women to trust their intuition and to step forward with what they know and to have confidence to speak it out loud. It's really important right now. And the main reason is because things have gotten flipped in weird directions in our patriarchal society. And this is not patriarchal condemnation towards men, because men and women have been programmed by the system. But what's really important to recognize is that women's bodies are gifted with like 3 times the sensory and emotional receptors as men's bodies. So that's just science. I'm sure I didn't say it perfectly for all the scientific people out there, but in essence, we have way more receptors in our bodies, which means that we're able to tap in and really listen in a deep way to the unit, the family unit, the community unit, the group of people that we're surrounded by. We're able to tap into that and get very deep information about the emotional health, the physical health, the mental health, what's in the space. If there's an argument between people, when we hone our senses, we are able to tap into, at an energetic perceptual level, what's going on inside of a community. And we're much more able to tap into that empathy to get messages on behalf of the community as well. That places us in a really unique role, especially those of us who are mothers, because we are able to become very highly connected to our children and tap into how to support them on their path, even without calling them up on the phone. There's a way that we can use our senses and our intuition to know what's going on. Are they okay? Are they not okay? What do I need to do? We can tap into that sense. So in that case, we can be like caretakers for the community in a way, but not in the heavy way that it's been done up until now, which is like surrender your entire self to everybody else who needs you, firefight, don't have any time for yourself, and just sacrifice everything about yourself to everybody else. That depletes the woman. It
Yeah.
depletes, right?
Yeah. If how many depleted women come to you for like, I've lost who I am. I've lost myself.
Lost myself. So this is the opposite. This is about giving the woman plenty of space to know herself, to heal the parts that have been wounded by this patriarchal system, to heal the ancestral energies, to reconnect ourselves with our temple in our bodies, our intuition, our divine connection with the great mother, who is the birther of all life, as we are birthing life as well. We are made in the image of that great mother. And so we need to access that knowing within ourselves again and reconnect with that archetypal energy of the great mother to support us in learning the lessons we came here to learn as creatrixes, as connectors of all of life, as stewards of life, as mothers of life. We're here to be that sacred witness and to hold that space. So we need to be very full and overflowing and have plenty of pleasure with our bodies, pleasure in our senses, and spaciousness, so that we can tap in and not step over anything anymore. We need to actually be able to slow down, take a deep breath, feel our bodies, have some space to process some little thing, some little nuance we picked up on that we want to question and ask ourselves about. Should I follow up on that with my son? Should I look at that with my daughter? What about my mother? What's going on there? What's my role? And then what do I need for my wholeness, for my goodness, for my wealth, right? We need more spaciousness to do all that. And our patriarchal society is way too freaking busy to allow that to happen. So we've got to confront these things and say no more.
That's a good point. And as you were talking about it, I know we're talking about patriarchal society, but that doesn't mean I think men are suffering under the
Totally.
patriarchal
They are
society
suffering
as much as women. So just want to put that out there. men aren't holding the bad boy basket as much as they're hurt by some of the expectations that are outside of normal being human. I see that.
Well, they're being expected to hold a lot of space with 1/3 or less of the receptors in their bodies to be able to know what's going on. They're not really built for that. They're not designed to hold that kind of space, but they're trying to.
They really are.
And
Yeah.
when they're working with women who have disowned their own intuition, or who are afraid to speak up, or who don't know how to pleasure themselves and therefore can't say, this is what I like, do this. It gets so awkward because the men are trying to figure out what the women want, but the women don't even know what they want because they haven't gotten in touch with themselves enough to know what they want. And that's on us as women. That's our job.
Yeah. It is. And it's big job, because when we allow ourselves to be happy, joyful, and a lot of us are still very much involved in, let's get ahead, let's get this one thing up, this goal, this busy, like you said, this is the age of information. I need to understand everything. And now, like, that's why we have calculators, because you don't have to have all the numbers in your head. I'm just kidding, but not kidding. So, but it sounds like women hold the basket or hold the bowl of being able to do this on one level, and so that others who don't have that huge bowl just yet to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and when this is the connection with Mother Earth piece, how that fits in is that as we ground ourselves with Mother Earth, as we sink our roots really deep into the soil, as we sit with her, as we get quiet, we'll get the nudges and the information and the guidance that we need. We will get that. We don't have to go searching for it. We'll find it inside. It's like if you get so still, you might even hear a voice or something inside of you that says, the information you're looking for is in this book, in this chapter, go look at it, because you probably read it before. It's like if you slow down enough, it's going to tell you. I mean, some people even said, they didn't even know me, and our voice said, go see Kerri Hummingbird. So,
wow.
I mean, if you get quiet, obviously you can get a lot of messages. If you just listen and get quiet with yourself, that can save you a whole bunch of hassle and running around and internet searching and figuring out and all of that stuff.
Well, let me just, you said somebody might get a message to go see Kerri Hummingbird. They call you, they go see you, go to your website, and you're offering healing sessions, you're offering trainings. Let's talk a little bit about that. What is a healing session with you, for instance?
Yeah, so healing sessions I do are shamanic in nature. And so we get on the phone together 30 minutes or an hour. If we do an hour, I have time for a little bit of mentoring. I have time for more guidance to flow through. If we do 30 minutes, it's pretty much a straight healing. And what happens is I open sacred space. You come in, you tell me what you want to work on, what's bothering you, what's usually whatever is leading up to the call is up for healing. The interaction the day before, the set of things that happened, and you want to work on that. And that'll be about 5 or 6 minutes of the call. And then I'll just bring in my friend tobacco and start mapachoing you, fill you up with tobacco. And then as that starts happening, I'll start to get some insights or some realizations I'll tap into your heart. I'll use all those sensory things, in my body to start feeling you, almost like an overlay over your body and your energy field. I'll start to feel if your throat's tight, I'll feel my throat's tight. I always check in with the client. I feel like my throat is tight. Is your throat tight? Yes, it is. Okay, let's explore the energy that's in your throat, or let's explore the energy that's wherever else in the body. Maybe there's a child healing, an inner child, a part of you that feels unhappy with the current circumstance, feels triggered, feels sad. It reminds you of that time in your life when you felt powerless. We'll do some healing with that part. Maybe if you've got some ancestral issues going on, maybe if your mom passed away and it's not resolved, but there's something going on in your life right now that's reminding you of her, or a relationship that's similar, well, you might want to do a healing and work with that energy, work with the departed even to bring some healing to your ancestral line and to yourself. So there's a lot of things it could be in 30 minutes. It seems like, how do you do all that in 30 minutes? We're timeless. It's timelessness. It just happens. And then clear it out, rattle it out, feather it out, and then fill you up with light, and you're just like on your way. See ya.
So can you do these remotely? They're not.
I do over the phone.
Yeah.
I actually prefer it. Some people want to be on Zoom with me, or they want to look at me while I do it. I understand maybe some people feel connected that way, but for me, it's very distracting. I just want to listen because one of my primary healing senses is listening and feeling. And I'll even just close my eyes and listen and feel the person. I don't need to see them.
Yeah, I would say clairaudient, clairsentient are your strongest gifts. And you also, so I highly recommend a session. I have to give you a call. And but you also train. You have a school where you do training.
I do.
Yeah.
So inner medicine training is really about cultivating your alignment with your highest destiny and your divine blueprint. So we use the gene keys to activate the frequencies that are already in your chart and in your life. And we put those into the Mesa, which is the Andean tool. With your Mesa cloths and your kuyas, your stones, we put those gene keys in there. So we take the Himalayan medicine and this dragonfly medicine of the gene keys that Richard Rudd has downloaded for all of us. Thank you very much for the beautiful medicine. We take all of that and place it into the Mesa, which is the Andean universe in a cloth. It's like a medicine bundle, and it becomes lightning. So what happens is a lot of personal transformation just basically just happening through frequency work, and then a weekly call. And we have a weekly call. We share what's been up for people during the week. We do a little shamanic journey, meditation, healing, sharing, learning different practices and rituals. And it's very fun, and it's group oriented, and it's transformative, and it blows your mind. And I like having my mind blown. So every week my mind is blown. Thank God.
Is this also remote, or do we have to come?
It's over Zoom. It's over Zoom.
Okay. So
it's every week over Zoom.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we periodically start those up. We have the next one's coming up in August on Tuesday nights over Zoom, and it's all recorded, but it's better to be in person because you get live like right there and ask questions. But yeah, that's the main program that I have going, and it's very powerful. And then once a year we take a trip to Peru. This year we're not doing the trip to Peru because with the book launch, it was
a little too much.
Oh yeah, I'm a manifester, and manifestors by human design are powerful in ability to launch and initiate projects, but then we get pooped out and we need to rest because we can't regenerate our energy like everybody else. So I needed to rest.
I was like a manifester too. Now we need to talk. I also found out I was a manifester, and I'm like, is this why I'm so tired?
Yeah, because we have to rest. We can't just keep go. This world is built for generators. Generators just go, and they just love it. And if you're a manifester and you can't do that, you're like the moon. You got to rest. You have the moon goes dark and silent, and then the moon gets big and full, and you're like the moon.
Oh. That's a great way of looking at it that way, because I feel like I should generate go, and then I'm like staring at the screen. I'm like, what? I can't.
And then the joy is gone, even though you're doing what you love. Yeah.
And I get so frustrated with myself saying, you could do better than this. I'm like, no, you just need a couple of good naps.
You go take a nap. Then you'll be back in your right mind. Yeah. So anyway, self-care is important for sure.
Yeah. So what else can you tell us about this survival of humanity and getting in touch with Mother Earth? There's a lot of scary stories going on, and the ocean, the sea, the melting of the ice. There's so many fear stories going on, and what you're talking about is not a fear story.
No, it's not. It's an initiation. So I look at things. We are collectively in an initiation, into higher consciousness called Homo Luminous. And as with every other initiation, you go through the fear part. You have the wake up call and you go, holy moly, how am I going to do that? There's no way, I can't. And then you resist it for a while, and then the wake up call comes again. It comes as a 2x4, and you go, oh my gosh, I can't do it. And then, but you don't want to get hit by the 2x4 again. So you go ahead and take the great departure, and you go, all right, I'm listening, spirit. What do you want from me? How can I serve? What do you want me to do? Clean out all your backyard, clean out your closets, deal with yourself, clear out your mental projections, get clean. We have work to do. Okay, then you do the work, and then you get aligned, like with this program I do with Inner Medicine, you get aligned to your divine placement in the synarchy and to the brilliance that wants to come out you for the collective. You get aligned to that. Whatever piece everyone else is doing, that's not my piece. My piece is just to come and tell you all that that's what we're doing. How you get there is your job. I'm offering a way to get there, but like seriously, how you get there is your divine plan. But you're really meant to get aligned with your divine gifts at this time, get aligned with your brilliance, get decluttered, and so you can have energy to focus on your brilliance and bring that into the world. And your focus might be your family. That might be your greatest focus, is your own family. Your greatest focus might be the community. Your greatest focus might be the animals. Your greatest focus might be the jungle. Whoever is different for everybody. But everybody will have a focus. Everybody has one already lined up for them. And as we wake up all together, which is what we're working to do, then we'll all do our piece of the puzzle. And the interesting thing is, like, when people wake up, what I've realized when I've been around, and I don't claim to be fully woken up. Like, I definitely am still sleepy in some areas. But when I meet other people who are kind of awake like me, like at the same level or even more awake than me, there's a knowing of the information that we're sharing is correct. Like, all of us feel it in our bodies. We're like, that's right. We might not be able to have the book to write it down or prove it, but we're like, that's correct. That's exactly what needs to happen. That's right. We'll just know. We'll just know together. We'll align together. We'll do the work, and it'll happen like that.
We'll have that community going on.
Exactly.
So again, so I just want to remind people, Kerri Hummingbird with Kerri. Hummingbird has 2 M's in it.com. You're not quite sure how to find her. You can remember Kerri Hummingbird, just Google it. But KerriHummingbird.com. You're also on Facebook, Kerri Hummingbird. And you have a number of books. If you just search in Amazon for Kerri Hummingbird, you'll find all of her books. And just wanted to remind people about that. And especially if the classes are starting in August, get to know her now. And see if these classes fit for you. Maybe even have a session with her to see how she works resonates with you. There's a couple of people on Facebook talking about wanting to do the work, and so that's why I'm saying it out loud. But
yay!
And anybody listening to this podcast later is like, it's KerriHummingbird.com, and it's one of my most favorite resources to send out to you guys. So. We're winding down, Kerri. Is there anything you want to add? There's so much excitement going on in your world.
I know.
It's beautiful.
Well, I wanted to just wrap up one more thought on what we were talking about, is that the shamans, when they see that someone comes in with a story that's not so great, it's a bad story, and they can tell it's not so great because they're all shut down and they're miserable and they're distracting from their problems and they're really, really sad, right? And they're condensed, they're all contracted. The shaman doesn't want to hear the whole story. There's no interest, because what's only true is the center, which is the light. The light is the truth. Everything else is a creation from that personality, from that life. So if we just clear the slate, then we'll see more of the truth.
Okay.
It's the same thing for our collective challenges. So for our collective challenges, we don't want to ignore that that's happening, but we also don't want to get pulled so far into it that we can't see the light. So we want to focus on the light while keeping a little peripheral gaze on the things that are going on. Focus on the light, bring the light out. The light is what's going to transform all the things that are going on the planet.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's the simplest put, most direct way. Focus on that light within yourself. Can't find it, go within. Call Kerri, call me. We'll
If
help
you
you find
lost it, we can help you pin the tail on that donkey. It's
Yeah,
gonna be okay.
absolutely. So again, Kerri, hummingbird.com, angelscapes.net is my site, Nancy Smith. And you can find this recording on a podcast, any podcast station. You can find it on YouTube. Look for Angelscapes, and you can also go to angelscapes.net and you will find all the links to the podcasts, Kerri, plus everybody else. But Kerri's there twice, so listen to her twice. So I want to thank you for joining us, Kerri. It's just been wonderful to talk to you again. It's been too long. We wait too
It's
long.
been too long.
Yeah. And we'll be connected, I hope soon, maybe fall or at least the next winter or something, but see how things are moving along with you. And so I give you all the blessings. And everyone, use the tools, use these things that are brought in front of you that you may never have known about if I hadn't have told you. So, and Kerri has lots of tools as well. And I want to say this is the end of the episode, but life goes on and your soul is ready to bloom and grow. Thanks again, Kerri, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.